Hello there, I'm Rocky Hidalgo. I'm the head football coach at Glenn Academy in Brunswick, Georgia. Today I'm going to be going over a presentation I did for an online clinic a couple of years ago on tandem playing defenders and defensive fits on interior and perimeter runs. Before we kind of go through this, I know there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. I'm going to talk about basically how we do things at Glenn Academy, and this is for high school coaches and I coach high school football. I know there are a lot of different ways to go out here and coach your team, but everything I do is I'm probably not I'm probably the least technical guy that you're going to get out here when you come and watch me or talk ball with me a little bit. I'm self-taught in a lot of ways, and hopefully you guys, other high school coaches, will see this and get something out of it. And that's my goal, is kind of add something to our profession. And if you have questions, please email me at rocky.hidalgo@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at CoachRock73. My YouTube channel is called Money Downs. We call Money Downs. That's third and fourth down. We got to get off the field. That's where we earn our money as defensive coaches. Little brief history at me. I started at Rhodes College. I coached outside linebackers. Then I was at Walton High School, the D-line coach, the O-line coach, the defensive coordinator there for, I think, 7 or 8 seasons. I was the head coach there for 5, played in the state championship game in 2011. And I've been in my current position for 8 seasons since 2014. I think those wins probably 6, 7 years. I think I've got a few more than that. I don't know how many, but a few more. But been fortunate enough to been coached around a lot of guys and a lot of great coaches. I played on the offensive line in college. I was a 4-4 outside linebackers coach in 1995 at Rhodes. Coached the D-line in a 4-3 defense from 96 to 98. The offensive line in 99 to 2001. I thought I was going to be the next great offensive coordinator. It didn't happen. I was offered a defensive coordinator position in 2002. Took it. Started coaching in 4-3 over and under front, match coverage behind it, 9-man box. Saw a lot of wing T, a lot of pro eye. The game has changed a ton since then. In 2005, we started using a 3-4, what we called our Delta personnel, the 3-4 package versus spread teams. We're starting to see more spread looks. In 2006, we converted to a 3-4. We just ran out of defensive linemen. We started running the 3-4 every down. We led the region in points allowed. 12 seasons that I've been the defensive coordinator and the head football coach. We've had a lot of success. Not all good, but not all bad either. I'm going to talk real quick about why we use the 3-4, and why I think it's a great every down defense. I know there are 8-man front guys, 4-2-5, odd stack guys out there. I think you can play defense out of anything. It's about what you believe in. This is what I believe. I believe the 3-4. I like it better, but I've used a lot of 4 down. I've used some odd stack stuff out there as well. Why we use the 3-4? First off, it's a balanced front. It bases out of a 4 shell. For me, it's easier to go from cover 4, cover 2 to cover 3 than it is to go into cover 3 concept and coach those other concepts. That's kind of how I always felt about it. It's flexible and versatile. We have easy adjustments to front to give different looks on the front, but also to personnel adjustments where we have our dog position where we can replace our dog, move from an outside linebacker to a defensive lineman or another defensive back, and we don't have to make wholesale changes on the defense, and we can still run our defense, our same defense. We don't have to change up a lot of calls. It allows us to play fast because our kids learn kind of learn the defense, and regardless of what personnel groups we have on the field, it's the same over and over again. For us, what we do each year is we try to figure out who our 11th defender is. We go out and we list our best defensive players on the board. Each defensive coach makes his list, and we want to make sure we have at least 3 defensive linemen, 2 cornerbacks. We want to try to have 2 safeties, 3 linebackers. That leaves that 11th player. Our 11th guy is how we kind of dictate what we're going to do on defense. It's our dog position. Our dog position can be a defensive lineman, a defensive back, or an outside linebacker, and he gives us a lot of flexibility. Real quick, just some tenets of great defense. The big three that everybody is going to talk about is tackling. You got to work fundamentals. You have to steal time for tackling. I think a lot of people short tackling because they're trying to get all this game prep in. We're going to try to find time with tackling. Maybe an extra point field goal when our big kids are down there working protection. We'll take the skill and do tackling with them. It may be with kids or defensive linemen during kickoff team if they're not on kickoff or kickoff return. So we're going to try to steal time with them. Effort. You got to play with great effort. It's the only thing you can control out there. So you have to play with great effort. Effort's not optional. That's what I say. We're going to play great fits. How do you drill your fits? When we're bad on defense, it's because of bad fits. So the question is, how do you drill those things? Film, walk through your practice plans. I think those are all important. I think it's important to watch your practice film and see if you're getting two guys outside the ball. Other things on coaching: align, assign, and refine. That's how we teach our defense. We want to get our alignments first, our assignments next, and then we'll do things like refinements, tags on coverages, stems, show blitzes, things like that. This is a saying, I learned this from Coach Ed Dudley: mismatches don't beat you, mistakes do. We can't do anything about our personnel if they have better personnel than us, but we can execute our game plan better than them. 82% of our plays, when we're at 82% execution rate on our plays played, then we win games 95% of the time. So that's what we're trying to get to. I want to focus on fundamentals. We use our EDDs as warm-ups. I know a lot of guys go out there and do dynamic mobility. For us, we're not going to do that. We're going to get in our drill groups, and we're going to move our kids around, work at EDDs, and we'll get warmed up through our EDDs. I think coaching communication is critical from day one. You got to make sure that your kids are talking and communicating with each other. Your coaches are communicating with your kids. The coordinators are communicating with the position coaches, and the head coach is communicating with the coordinators. I think that's really important. First downs and third downs. I know that's, you got to win first down. You got to get people in second long. On third downs, you got to get off the field. So, we put a lot of stress in what we call our first downs, practicing for a first down when you run out on the field, trying to create a negative play. And third downs, I have found that when we give up a third and long, we're going to give up points. So we want to get off the field on third downs. We want to be offensive. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing is we're attacking the offense. We want to dictate to them. I know offensive coordinators always talk about dictating to the defense. Well, we want to dictate to the offense. We don't want to be static in what we do. We want to be dynamic. We want to change things up. We want to attack. The last thing is we want to attack bad players. You have to get out there and figure out who's the weak spot on the other team as well. And make that person, if they've got a bad offensive lineman in third and long, make him protect against your best rusher in one-on-one situations. If they've got a receiver out there who you can cover man-to-man or he struggles at times, then, you got to force that guy to beat you. And to me, that's just good coaching. Really quick, our defensive alignments, because we're going to talk about some of this. We use the Bear Bryant terminology for our defensive line, which is, a 1, 2-eye, 3, 4-eye, 5, 7, 9, 2, 4, and 6 is being hit up. I know it's 7, 6, 9. I know that people say that doesn't make sense. I'm just telling you, I use it that way because Bear Bryant said so, and that's why I do it. Our eyes are on our read key. A lot of people you hear defensive line guys talk about watch the ball, watch the ball. I'll undress our coaches if they ever say watch the ball. We want to watch our read key. We want to align in tight alignments unless noted with a tag, wide jet, something like that. When I say tight alignments, I want my outside eye on his inside eye, or my inside eye on his outside eye, depending on what my alignment is going to be. The read key hand is down usually. I'm not a huge stickler on that if a kid really struggles with it, but we definitely want to make sure we've got the proper foot back. Linebacker alignments, the same as the D-line, defensive line alignments, but we tag a 0 to it, so it's a 10, 20, 30, 40, so on and so forth. The only difference in this is we have an 80 technique, which is somewhere between a 9 and a 90. He walks up. We play our outside linebackers with what we call an 80 technique, which is somewhere we play them off the line a little bit. So we don't play like a traditional 9 technique with that. Our Mike and Will depth is 5 yards. We read the near back to offensive guard window. Our outside linebackers we call Vipers, Vs. They must know 50 alignments. They've got to know a 50 alignment, an 80 alignment, a 9, and a 6 technique to play over there, plus an apex and a cover down, which are 2 things that we do against multiple receiver sets. Our 80 technique alignment is our inside foot on the tight end's outside foot, heels depth of the D line, and eyes on the snap of the chin strap. So we want to watch the button to snap is where our read key is. If that snap disappears, depending on what that snap does, comes to us, it's a post, disappears, it's a reach. If it goes away, it's going to be a down block. This is our delta front. Now here's just some kind of basics about what we do delta front. Our nose guard's a 0 technique. We don't play him as a 2-gap defender. We use the nose guard to dictate interior runs. We're going to force a gap, usually one side or the other. The defensive ends are tight 5 techniques. They're B-gap players. We get a post block by the tackle. We want to attack the inside number. We don't line up. A lot of people line up in the tight front with 4 eyes. We don't line up that way because you get a lot of funky pin and pulls and things like that. So we've come up with what we call our delta technique, how we play our 5 techniques. We get a post. We're going to put our eyes inside shoulder of the offensive tackle, and we're going to hunch our feet and force inside the B gap. We want to make sure we flatten the offensive tackle on any down block, and we don't care. We don't care if they get reached because we've got the outside linebacker safety, and we're going to fast flow the backers over the top. The big thing with the defensive ends, the 5 techniques, they can't get turned out on a post block. They get turned out on a post block, we can get in trouble. The Mike and Will, they're going to read the near back and they're going to fit off the defensive end nose guard. We're going to fast flow. We're going to fast flow the near back. We want to get off the ball and run to the football. We don't spend a whole lot of time. People talk about block destruction. I'm playing with 170-pound inside linebackers. So if they've got to get off blocks, we're going to be in trouble. So we want to beat blocks with speed. We want to get downhill before offensive linemen have a chance to get up on us. The outside linebackers, the Vipers, they can't get reached. We're going to spill the kick out versus any 3-man surface. Old school at keeping in the box versus a 2-man surface. We want to, if we get... and then the safety, the rover and the free safety are our run fitters in this look. We get a reach. We get a reach by the tight end. We want to fit the tube. So the Sam linebacker in this scenario, if the tight end reaches, the Sam linebacker is going to try to get outside. The safety is going to fit underneath. A down block by the tight end, we're going to play the bounce and fit outside. We'll kind of talk about those things here in just a second. Here's this slide shows tandem playing inside linebackers with the defensive ends. So this is 2 different looks here. The one on the left is an open window read, what we talk about an open window. If the 5 technique, if the tackle posts and turns out on the defensive end, the inside linebacker's got to attack the mesh, and the guard blocks down. The inside linebacker's got to attack the mesh point with an open window. So he wants to get downhill hard as he can and take the inside pad off of any kind of lead blocker. If we get a closed window read, this is what we call a closed window read, where the guard blocks down on the nose guard. The tackle is going to block down up to the next level. With the defensive end, we want to make sure we get hands on that guy. We want to flatten him down. You can see my cursor here. We want to flatten him down, try to close a gap with the tackle's butt right here. And he's going to tackle first thread off the tackle's behind. The backer is going to fit back off. He's going to fit outside, scrape, replace, simple scrape, replace rules. Fit outside and tackle the first thread outside. We came up with this stuff for triple option teams. And this is kind of how we fit versus triple option. So we want to make sure we're tackling the first threat outside with the football. You know, sometimes if that end gets hung up, it might be the fullback, and if it's inside veer in a situation like this, and he's got to tackle the first guy with the ball. So we want to make sure that he's fitting nice and tight off the end, and he's going to tackle the first threat with the football right there. So here's some examples here. See, the backer does a good job of fitting downhill. Actually, could be a little tighter. Backer here at the bottom. He fits downhill, but he's a little wide, misses the tackle. Should have made this tackle for no gain. We get a wrong shoulder by the 5 technique. It's not the worst defense I've ever seen right there. Of course, we're going to have the worst end zone copy there that you can get. This is just closed window read here. That's not all bad by the inside backer right there. Let's see what we get here. All right, here's a scenario where we get a fold block here. And because we're a 3-4, teams always do this. They try to fold the guards out, turn out on the 5 techniques, fold in. So this is an open window for us. The end usually does a good job. He wrong shoulders this, and we're going to fit for space right there. This is how we fit tandem play on the outside. We're talking about tandem playing, and we want to make sure at second level we're going to make sure we want to fit off the front level, the defensive line. We want to make sure those guys are right. We want to be able to play fast in the secondary. And so for us, we're going to find the guy in front of us. When we get our run read, pass read, run read, we're going to fit downhill and find the guy in front of us, and then we're going to make him right. So in a scenario like this is a read force versus a reach block. We call this read force. Again, we did this because we were a triple option team. When you play a good triple option team, you know, if you go out there and tell your guys, hey, you got dive, you got quarterback, you got pitch, well, they'll get into arcing you and loading, and you'll get in a situation where your quarterback guys has got a guy on him, or your pitch guy's got a guy on him. So you really got to have 2 guys on quarterback, 2 guys on pitch, 2 guys on dive, and it's got to be based on what the offense does. So this is how we fit our defense, because we were at one point in time we were playing a bunch of triple option teams, and you had to be good against it. So in this scenario, the outside linebacker, the Sam here on the left, gets a reach block by the tight end. His goal, what we call is, if you guys seen our video on outside linebacker play, he's going to get outside the football right now. He wants to get outside the football. And if this were zone option, he's going to get outside and run as fast as he can to pitch here. The rover, but he gets a reach, he's going to find the Sam. If the Sam's outside, he's going to fit the tube inside. He's going to fit the tube inside, and depending on what you get in the backfield, again, if it were zone option, if the back's fast flowing, the Mike's going to scrape and replace outside just as well. He's going to be on the backside of the ball. Here's a read force versus a down block. The tight end doubles down on the 5 technique. The dog is going to squeeze, flat squeeze. He's going to spill the kick out block here. The safety is going to kick with outside leverage because he knows he's going to trust his outside linebacker to squeeze and spill this ball to him. So he's what we call the spill player, read force. Or against a reach, the safety's going to find space in there. He's going to look up the Sam linebacker, find space underneath. Against a down block, he's going to fit outside in, fit the ball outside in. Here's a reach key. See the reach key, outside linebacker's outside. The safety's a little wide on it. The safety's a little wide. He sits down. We're rocking this down. He should fit back underneath this guy. He's a little wide outside the play. It's not bad for the outside linebacker. Here's another example here. You reach. He's outside good. You see the safety back underneath. That's what we want. That's how we want to fit it. And we will roll that guy. If we're getting a lot of jet, we can roll. We'll make a roll call, and that guy's going to roll down, and he's actually going to fit the tube outside of that. If we've got roll call, we tell those outside linebackers to widen up. Sometimes we'll make what we call a blue call, and we'll tighten him down. The safety will fit outside, depending on how somebody's attacking us and how we want to fit the ball. Here's a down key. See here, the outside linebacker on the bottom is going to get a down block. It's a good spill. The safety's going to fit outside the ball. Safety's, this is his first time. This was his first start, and he's a little slow on this, but not bad position right there. You see the Mike's going to scrape a place. Mike's going to scrape a place, almost overruns it. Inside out the football. It's pretty good defense right there. Read force versus a post. What we want to do with the Sam linebacker, if we get a post, we get a post on the left side, we want that Sam to kind of work upfield to the hip. We want to bring this, excuse me. There we go. We get outside. He gets a post block. He wants to fit upfield and outside of this guy. So we want to get to the hip on this, on the tight end here, and bring the ball back to the safety inside. So the safety is going to fit underneath here. And here's read force versus outside veer. The same thing. We get a down block. The dog's going to come down, tackle the first threat. And so what we're going to end up with is he ought to come down, tackle the dive. The will linebacker is going to be scraped. He's going to tackle the next threat, which would be the quarterback. The safety is going to fit down block. Is going to fit outside. We're going to get to pitch. He's got to get out to pitch. So this is how we would play outside veer. We don't see a lot of outside veer nowadays. Here's the post key. You see it up at the top right here, I believe. We get a post key. You see that the outside linebacker does a great job of getting upfield and making sure this ball is going to fit back inside. See if the safety fits down inside. Safety's inside. That ain't all bad. We're in pretty good shape right there. Here's an incorrect. This one's incorrect here. So you see the safety, the corner's outside. We do the same thing with the corner. So you see the corner. We're gonna fit it, and he's upfield. But see where the corner is. The corner should be underneath. We got lucky here. We end up with two guys outside the ball. And this is when we talk about fits. This is a bad fit. Two guys outside the ball. This isn't what we want. We want to make sure one guy's outside the ball. This defensive back should be on ball making that tackle right there. How do you practice three-level fits? We practice box fits in half line and inside run. So when we do inside run, we're going to work our inside run with our safeties and corners in there. So we'll practice that. If anytime we're playing somebody that uses a three-man surface, we're going to practice safeties and corners in there. They'll practice their read fits in there. Mondays, it's going to be free safeties and rover fits. Tuesdays, it's going to be cornerback reads and fits, which is our Canes and Blue call. So on Canes and Blue, we'll tighten that outside linebacker up from an 80 technique to a tight 9 to a 6, where we're already establishing that the defensive back is going to be the force player. We do it in perimeter runs. We do perimeter half line and skelly. So we work our run fits on the perimeter versus this. On Mondays, it's 2x2 formations. On Tuesdays, it's 3x1s. How do you practice these tandem reads? Indian EDDs, reads and steps. So a big part of this is making sure that we know what our read keys are, our eyes are in the right spot, and our footwork is correct. So we work those EDDs Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Pod periods. D-line versus inside linebackers work a pod period where they're working open and close windows, post blocks, down blocks. The D-line's working squeezing, wrong shouldering, tackle, dive on versus inside veer. The inside linebackers are fitting off the read scheme we've got, making sure we're in our right spot. Same thing. Pod periods, the free safeties and rovers work with the Vipers. They work with post, reach, down block, and they fit off those things, fit off those reads. Both of them fit off those reads. We do the same thing on the perimeter. We pod those things out. This is how we do basically our D-line and inside linebacker pods. So these are like what the cards would look like. So it would be just like this. So you'd have the D-line, the Mike linebacker, and this is what it would look like. And this, it'd be a down block, a post, and we got ISO. This is just an ISO read. This is inside veer, inside veer. Right here is down block, and this would be a power read. So this end's going to squeeze, wrong shoulder. Mike's going to scrape outside. This would be a outside zone, be an outside zone look. And so what we tell the end is we tell him he's a B-gap player. So on a reach blocked by the tackle. We want to latch the tackle's inside number, drive up field, a heel's depth of the tackle, and cut the guard off and fast flow the will linebacker. So these are just kind of the blocking schemes we would use versus our D-line with our D lineman and inside linebacker pods. Our free safety and rover pods would look like this. We'd have a tight end, a sniffer, tailback, and quarterback, and we'd work power. So the tight end's going to block down. Safety's going to get his fit, pop his feet. Sam linebacker's going to flat squeeze, wrong shoulder. Safety's going to fit off of him. Same thing. This would be a counter look. It'd be the same read. The dog, flat squeeze, wrong shoulder, the pulling guard. Safety's going to fit outside. Here's would be a post block like it would be ISO. Safety's going to fit inside. We want to see that Sam linebacker work up to the hip here. Hunch, hunch, hunch. Bring the ball back inside to the safety. His goal on a post is make sure the ball doesn't bounce. The ball bounces, we want him to make the tackle for a 2-yard loss. And then we've got a reach block where we want the outside linebacker to get his butt upfield, get upfield, head this thing off, anchor the point, what we call anchor the point. We just don't want to run upfield. We want to get up here about 2 or 3 yards deep so that if the ball pushes outside us, we're going to make the tackle for a 2 to 3 yard loss. The free safety is going to fit inside to out, the tube underneath the outside linebacker. The ball keeps pushing wide. He's going to adjust and run the ball inside out. So these are like our half line, how we would drill it out, our half line Mondays. So we'd come with a 3-man surface. We'd work 3-man surface. And the great thing about a half line period, we might do this in a 5-minute period, but in 5 minutes we get about 11 or 12 plays. We've got 2 groups going. So the left side runs, and while they're running a play, these guys over here on the right are getting the next play. So it's rapid fire. We get this on film so we can go back and watch it and film the whole thing. Half line Tuesday, we're going to put the corners in. So where on Monday we had the safeties fitting, on Tuesday we're going to have the corners in. And so this would be something where this is a Canes call, might be a Canes call for us. Cloud where the corners in support. We've checked 3 for some reason. We got formation, twins, receiver. We've checked 3 to that side. This is what we make a blue call. The corners in run support here, basically playing the role of safety. This is how we do our backside run fits. This is something that's a little different. But if you're playing 9-man football, so on the backside of those things, we get fast flow away. The will linebacker, he's got full flow away. He's going to shuffle flat and he's going to replace for the Mike linebacker. The Mike is going to take off and run. And these guys are fit in front side. We've kind of looked at those front side fits. But on the backside of this guy's trying to replace for the Mike. The free safety on the backside, he's got 20-man rule and he's got counter and cutback. Okay, that's his responsibility. But he wants to look at the will linebacker. If the will linebacker gets cut off from the midline, so let's say the center works up and cuts him off here, we're going to insert the free safety front side. We teach the free safety to go ahead and work for the front side, and he's going to replace for the will, and the will's already behind the play. So we don't want to play with 2 guys behind the play. So this is example for us of how we would fit the run on the backside. The free safety is going to look up the backside, or the rover is going to look up the Mike. They're going to look up the backside linebacker. If the backside linebacker gets cut off, he's going to insert front side. So this is an example. The will linebacker gets across the midline. He's fitting the ball front side. See, the will's across. The safety's a little too tight, honestly. He needs to sit down about 6 yards. He gets a little too tight, but that's a backside run fit. Okay, here's a backside run fit where the will linebacker gets cut off. This time they get up to the will. He's cut off. Well, he becomes our counter cutback player now. The free safety eyes the will. The will's cut off. He wants to fit front side on this now. Here's an example here. See the safety does a nice job here. The safety at the top. Will linebacker is going to get cut off. Watch the safety fit front side. Plays away, fit front side, replace for the will, and he's in there making the tackle. I'll show it to you again right here. It's this safety up at the top. These 2, he's eyeing this guy right here. He's cut off. Here's the will's going to fit front side, stick it and make a tackle. So it's all about run fits. And here's some simple run fits versus certain plays. This is an I formation, obviously. We kind of start all these things with 21 personnels versus isolation. The Mike linebacker, he's going to, if we get ISO, he gets an open window. The end is going to take, when he gets on the post block, he's looking B gap right here. He wants to reduce B gap and don't get turned out and open this hole. We get a post by the tight end. He's going to work upfield and hunch on the tight end so that the ball presses back inside. The safety's going to kick down about 6 or 7 yards, and he's looking for the football in here to make the tackle for about a 2 or 3 yard gain. On the ISO, the Mike's going to take the inside play off. If the ball cuts back to weak side A gap, the Mike's got to make this tackle right here. We're going to scrape the will. The will is scraping to B gap, and he should be on ball. Very simple. Run fits versus outside zone. Get run fits versus outside zone. So we get a reach block here. Let's say the tight end is going to reach on the Sam. We start our Sams wide. We're playing outside in. So if the Sam reaches, he's going to get outside the play. He's going to get to a point and he's going to anchor. The end is going to latch. He wants to occupy two guys right here. Drive the ball up, and if the ball cuts back behind the Mike linebacker, our end should make the tackle here for a 2 yard loss. Mike linebacker is going to scrape replace. He's going to scrape on the backside of the end, working up the field. The safety is going to fit underneath the Sam, fit the alley underneath the Sam. Will linebacker is going to replace for the Mike. Free safety's got 20-man rule on the backside. And we're gone. Should be gone. The Will gets hung looking in the backfield. He ought to be gone on that. Run fits versus counter. Our run fits versus counter. So we read our near back, okay? And I'll be honest with you. We get near back. If we get offset back like this, our eyes are inside linebackers reading the tailback. We're going to read the guy who's going to get the football a bunch. So we come in, we get a counter, guard pulls and kicks out the end. We're going to spill the end. The dog, we're going to spill that here to the dog, who's our overhang on the weak side. Will linebacker is going to shuffle. He gets back away with counter step, and then he's going to shuffle replace. So he'll shuffle back, and he's going to fit downhill. He's going to find this end. He's going to fit outside the end. The most important part is this defensive end on the right side. He's got to get hands on this tackle. We want to change his trajectory for 2 flat steps. We want to flatten him for 2 flat steps. That's going to enable that Mike to get over the top and inside out the football right there. Safety on the backside is going to fit down, replace for the Mike in weak side A gap. The end, we get double pull. We're going to flat squeeze. You try to get kick out here by the fullback. He's going to wrong shoulder that, try to close A gap. They post on the outside. It's a little different look. Post on the outside, double fit. You see the backer. Shuffle and refits back in. Just kind of a mush. I was drunk when I put that one in. I must be, because it's a bad example of the counter. Run fits versus power O. It's pretty much the same thing. Mike's going to scrape replace. He gets kick out. He gets his path. He's going to match path of the fullback, match path at the tailback. It's going to scrape. The Sam linebacker is going to flat squeeze, C-cut. So he's going to end up be the guy that tackle this football here. The safety is going to fit outside to in on this ball and play the bounce. This guy right here is a 137-pound outside linebacker. Eyes underneath, does a great job. This is how we coach it right here. He C-cuts, comes underneath. His eyes are inside, and he's got that back if he comes underneath. People will tell you that you can't C-cut that sniffer. That's a load of bullshit. You can C-cut that guy. This guy's 137 pounds soaking wet. That's a pretty good play right there by that kid, doing what he's coached to do. Our perimeter fit technology, our terminology, is the way we talk about it, discuss it. Crease, outside force, and alley. Who's the guy who's got the crease? Who's the outside force player? And then who's going to run the alley up here? You have things like, this is our most basic front delta cover 4, our most basic call, 3x1. We don't play this a whole bunch versus 3x1 really and truly. But let's say we did. If we cover down, this is our cover down technique by the Sam linebacker. He's over number 2. He's our force player. Nothing's going to get outside of him. The safety's got to play pass first, run the alley. The Mike linebacker's the guy in the crease. So if this guy wants to sit down and latch, like in an RPO, the Mike's going to have to help us take care of that, which is why we don't play this a whole bunch to 3x1. It's not great against the RPO. So this is how we change it up a little bit. So let's say we're playing delta cover 4 trips. This safety, now the Sam linebacker's in the crease. Okay, this safety now, he's the force player, and the free safety on the backside is going to peel out and fill the alley to both sides. This is our delta cover 4 lock, another trips adjustment for us. Okay, it's a little different. Instead of rolling down, these guys are playing match coverage over here on the outside. The Sam linebacker is going to be our force player here. He's splitting 2 and 3. It's going to force the ball in. Our free safety is our crease player now underneath number 3. And the rover is going to fit the alley off the Sam. So if the Sam gets hung inside, the rover by, let's say, number 2 blocks down on him, here the rover can fit downhill outside on him. And this is like cover 2 lock for us, which is where stretch coverage. The corners down is now going to be the force player. The Sam's going to be our crease player. Rover's going to fit the alley here. Anything outside fit this alley here. The free safety will run inside out after getting his pass read. Here's our delta cover 2 mini, which is a little different. Here's a little different look in this scenario. In cover 2 lock, this corner is down. He's a hard flat player, and he's half field over the top. Outside half, really it's 3 deep. Outside third, inside third. In 2 mini, this corner's man to man. We're playing basically cover 2, palms or our sink technique on 2 and 3. Sam linebacker is going to be underneath number 3. Rover's a hard force player down here. He's outside leverage of number 2. This is a different way we might play cover 3. So different ways we've changed the fits versus 3x1. I hope you guys got something out of this. If you have any questions, email me at rocky.hidalgo@gmail.com. I have a lot of these presentations, so my intentions are to put these up just for people to have. If I die in a car wreck tomorrow, at least y'all have something from it and get something out of it, I hope. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in to Money Downs. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.